Hey Givi friends, Givi Explorer friends, we are here at the EICMA show in Milan, 77 edition. This is a beautiful show, it's the largest show in the world, like we said already, and we are here with a very special guest, Jeremias Israel from Chile. He's a well-renowned rider. Hello, how you doing?
How you doing?
Good, good. So just to put in the context, so Jeremias started as a motocross racer back in the day, not too long ago, so it's not that old. So he started with motocross, and then he had the opportunity to race for the Chilean team at the Motocross of the Nation back in 2007.
2007.
United States.
Yeah. Before that, I did motocross and supercross in the U.S. At the Nationals and supercross.
Okay.
It's been a while.
So then you moved to Enduro. You had the opportunity to race the International 6 Days of Enduro. Was it in Chile?
Yeah, that was the first time in Chile, and it was a really nice experience.
Uh-huh.
I had the chance to race for the national team, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I remember seeing a video of you on the sand, like, wow! That was fun.
That was a really good experience, a very good result. I finished 5th, and just opened up such a big opportunity for me.
Uh-huh. And then you moved into rallies at that point. Was it like a smooth transition, or did you take a little bit of...
My background was always motocross, but South America at some point began to be the playground for Dakar Rally. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got involved in it, and I did a few Dakar rallies. And
you won some stages too, right?
I won some stages. I did well. I also had some big crashes, some big accidents, and I managed to race for some good teams.
Even HRC Honda factory team.
Honda HRC. I also raced for a Speedbrain team. I had a good time, good experience. I managed to travel the world, and it's something that I always remember as a good times.
Okay, so why are we talking about this? Because, well, of course, Jeremias was with us last time in Malaysia, the Givi Explorer last year. Well, actually this year. So it's been always a supporter of Givi. His own company distributes Givi in Chile for the Chilean market. We're trying to extract from him a few tips on how to ride your adventure bike, because he definitely knows what he's talking about. So when you're riding like a big bike, like an adventure bike, everybody's okay, it's good when it's on the asphalt, when it's on the tarmac, but then when you put your wheels off the road, so on the gravel, or even worse, on sand, that's where the problems start. And I remember you gave a nice clinic in Malaysia, a riding clinic for big bikes. You also collaborate with the Big Trail magazine.
Yes.
For Chile. So what would be your first tip for somebody approaching off-road on a big adventure bike, maybe a loaded one with bags and cases and everything? What would be the number one tip?
I mean, understanding that all the big trail bikes today, they have a lot of technology. You pretty much hit any brake and the bike will brake perfectly. You hit the gas and traction control will fix you up. So when you go on the off-road, you have none of these tools to really work. So then you have to go back to the basics, and this is off-road basics. So if you're going to brake, you need to understand braking. It's not just hitting the brake. You need to understand position on the bike, the weight, and also how hard you hit the brake. If you hit it too aggressive or too fast, all these bikes have big brakes, big rotors, so they're going to stop and it's going to lock and you're probably going to go down. So you need to really have the feeling and understand the braking. That's why learning the braking is so important. And then the traction control on the asphalt works perfect, but when you go on the off-road, sand or any dirt, I usually take it off. Because it makes it much more efficient, and also sometimes you just get stuck with the traction control because the bike won't allow you to go.
So it won't let the wheel spin, and you just and the bike doesn't move.
The bike doesn't move. Heavy bike, if it's not moving, you end up just doing the effort on yourself. So I take off both traction control and the brake,
ABS.
ABS. So you need to also have the traction control in your hand.
Okay.
And this is something that is kind of like going backwards, many years back, because today bikes have so much technology, but at the end, those two simple things are the basics to go into the dirt.
So braking and controlling the accelerator.
Braking and controlling the power,
Okay, you were mentioning positioning on the bike. So what would be like? Okay, I remember you telling me, hey, always brake on a straight line when you're off-road. When your wheels are not on the asphalt, make sure that all your braking happens when you're straight with the bike, and then you approach the turn.
It's also the braking on a straight line, the weight of the position on top of the bike makes such a big difference. When you hit the brake, everything you have
transfer forward.
Yeah. So when you hit the brake, you usually go back. When you hit the gas, everything wants to go, and it's gonna leave you behind. So
like the bike wants to wheelie, so you go forward.
So transferring the weight is such an important thing in any bike, but on the big trail bikes, because they usually have a lot of power. And a lot of mass, a lot of power, and we're used to just hitting the gas and going, no problem. When you do have this opportunity to go on the off-road, you need to control the power and also use your weight, because the first couple kilometers is not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. But after a little bit of time on the bike, if you don't use your weight, you end up always
gonna be on your
arms or your back. Your back suffers a lot. So the right position and having that throttle control and the feeling on the brake is so important.
Is there any exercise, anything that you can train yourself before you get into that situation to get better, or is just try and just remember when you brake, push back, when you accelerate, try to stay as far as you can forward?
Yeah, but that's something that I always talk about, that if you go into a tennis course, there'll be a teacher saying, no, you cannot play until you go through some tennis classes,
Yeah, the basics.
But when you go buy a motorcycle, nobody's saying, no, don't buy the bike before you go into classes.
Okay.
I think it's always very important to have someone with experience to
look at you and help you when you start.
Walk you through it.
Okay.
If you have the chance to do a riding clinic with someone, it's always important. I know we decided that we're going to do the riding clinic at the beginning of the next Explora.
Yeah.
And to help people
more comfortable and be more confident.
And also to remember all these things that when you talk about it here is one thing, but when you go into the bike and riding, we usually have so much emotion and good feelings that we forget about it.
Yeah,
so this is something that needs to be learned and take it easy at the beginning. That's the first thing I will say. Think about it. Make sure you do things before you go crazy and just
spin out. In terms of a lot of people in adventure riding, okay, I'm gonna stand on the bike, and you see them, they're all stiff standing on the bike, stiff legs, stiff arms. That's the worst possible position, is it?
I think that's another big thing. When you ride your bike, we usually tend to ride with the upper body and like you said, real stiff. And at the end, the motorcycle needs to be ride by your lower body.
Okay.
So it's your legs and your torso.
Everybody's stronger, by the way, because everybody's got stronger legs normally, because at least you're walking.
You got stronger legs. Of course, your muscles are bigger than your upper body, but we usually tend to only ride on top, and then the rest of the body is kind of like sitting. And the bike needs to be ride with your legs and torso. So all this, when you have your foot pegs, this and this control is where you actually have.
So it's not this, but it's
your hands should be using controls. So it's like you're playing piano. Okay. I always give that example, because at the end, if you control your bike here, and your weight when you hit the gas or when you hit the brakes, you know, and you use your weight, everything is going to go into your body that's much stronger than your hands. And then at the end, your hands, what they're doing is the more technical details. That's why you need to have the control of the brake, of course,
Clutch,
and then
the throttle. Okay.
Throttle is very important. You know, we're used to riding motorcycles in the asphalt, and it's such a big change from asphalt to dirt.
Okay.
That's where I think the big change is.